topic that's on the top of my mind this week is sort of how do we support friends that are, and I wasn't sure how to approach this, like in crisis or, but we have some friends, and they just found out that their 4-year-old daughter has leukemia. And this has all happened in the past week. And I feel like the structure and the scaffolding of support that was built around them was really amazing. And just wanted to share some of the stuff I observed because I thought it was so great. I mean, I think we all, by our nature, want to be helpful and supportive when people are going through something and you don't know what to do.
And naturally, you just want to say, what can I do?
Yes.
Which please never ask that question to anyone who is struggling.
Yeah, I learned
or
that
going through something.
Yeah, my sister-in-law had breast cancer, and she was like, you just shouldn't say, how can I help you? Because you're putting the burden of help on the other person. So I thought the first thing was, so this is sort of like them communicating outward to their community. So I'm assuming, of course, they were sharing this with their very close friends and family, texting, whatever. But when they shared what was happening broadly, so they did a post on Instagram, they shared a lot of information about exactly what was happening. So like back in the late 1900s when Facebook,
as my son would say,
yeah, when Facebook first came to be, we used to call it vague booking. You'd like write a post like, just feeling blue. And you're like, what's happening?
Hard
How can I
things
help
are
you?
happening right now.
Yeah. And so it wasn't vague. When they communicated what was happening, it was very specific. This is what happened. This is where we're at today. This is the type of leukemia. This is what we expect our lives to look like for the next couple of years. And that was really helpful just to be like, oh my gosh, did you hear so-and-so's, kid has cancer? And that was it. And then I think it actually probably generates a lot more like, what's going on? What's happening? You're putting burden on people.
Information. Yeah. People get curious, and then you're causing more work for yourself to explain the situation.
And obviously, if you don't want to share what's going on with the whole universe, you don't need to do that. So I guess I should say that too. Like, share as much as you're comfortable with, but avoid being like overly vague, I guess. And then when they shared this kind of broad communication, the structure to help them was already in place. So part of the like, this is happening, was here's how you can help. So I thought that was great. So first thing they did was they set up a dedicated Instagram account where you could track what was going on with them with this particular situation, which I thought was nice. So of course, like started following that. And then I think, again, the exhaustion of keeping everybody up to date on what's happening, at least it's like, look, if you want to know what's happening, go to this Instagram page because that's where they're going to update you. They also the mom transitioned her Venmo account to be for donations specific to this. So you can't have multiple Venmo accounts, but Venmo is so great because it's so low friction.
Right.
Like the first thing is just like, okay, I'm going to send you some money.
Well, and I don't
Venmo's
think
easy.
they take
a
percentage of fee, which a lot of these do, which I always felt bad. I would rather, if I knew the person personally, would rather just send them money versus using the GoFundMe because I knew they would lose a percentage. Yeah.
And you don't have to put a credit card in for Venmo if you have Venmo. And it's like an easy way to do maybe a lower donation amount. Maybe you just want to send $5, which is totally great. Super easy to Venmo. And then they set up an account at a website called giveinkind.com. And I'm sure there are multiple sites that operate like this, but I've actually had a couple of friends who have set up accounts on Give in Kind, which is super great. So, if you just want to send money, Venmo's super easy. Give in Kind, you can sign up for meals, but it's very cool because, you're signing up for a specific day. And then when you select a meal, you can select from a restaurant that they've put in, like this is a place we like to eat, or you can send a DoorDash gift card, or you could sign up for a home cooked meal. So you can see you can, do any of those things. I, of course, do a DoorDash gift card because I am a terrible cook. That would actually be a mean thing to do for me to drop off a meal to a friend. So
I love that. We had a neighbor a couple years ago. It was the first time I saw that. She had breast cancer, and I think she ended up having to do a double mastectomy, and it was great. There was an online platform. I don't know if it was Giving Kind or another one, but you could see all the dates she needed meals through the entire summer. People would put in what they were bringing, so you knew, oh, there's a lot of chicken soup coming.
Exactly.
I'm not going to do that. And I found it to be so helpful.
Yeah, it's so great. They also had grocery shopping as an option. So like, I don't know.
Great.
I don't know about you, but there's the standard list of like, these are the 20 things we pick up every Saturday. So you can pick up their like basic groceries.
I only wished we could have been that organized with when we were going through our loss. Granted, it ended in 58 days, so you wouldn't have gotten this far, but yeah, we had gallons of chicken soup. Not that I didn't appreciate that, but
yeah.
And then they also, you could donate for housekeeping. So they're going to be at the hospital every week, and this process is going to take 2 years. Their child can't go to school because she's immunocompromised. And so like, it was like, oh, wouldn't that be nice to just like have their house cleaned? So you could donate to that. I thought it was so great.
And I love that they weren't afraid to set this up. I think part of what, at least how I felt with our experience with Tina is, I feel bad asking for help, right? Yep. I am a capable, independent woman, and we can take care of ourselves. But it's nice to allow other people to serve you.
And they
so
want to. So like harnessing that energy, I think is huge.
It helps build community and helps you grow closer. And I think part of it is, as the person going through the hard thing, you need to allow yourself to be taken care of.
Yeah,
right.
And communicate what
you need. Yes.
For sure. They also, I think they have, they're just incredible people. They have a lot of really good friends, and they seem to have like friends are communicating on their behalf. Like, hey, it's from their account, but it's like, here's what's going on today with these folks. So again, like undoing the burden. Again, my sister-in-law who had breast cancer, she's like, there's just a lot of energy spent like telling people what's going on.
Or making other people feel okay about your situation.
Right. And then as we were just talking about, they've been very open and direct about what they need. So I think there's kind of like a two-sided coin here. They were clear about like, hey, please ask before stopping by the house. Like, let's not do a pop-in. We're really tired.
Nothing's worse than a pop-in.
Obviously don't come over if you're sick because, our child is immunocompromised. And then like, that was sort of the first couple days. And then I noticed like yesterday, they said, our child has received so many toys and we're running out of places to put them. And so, again, I'm reminded of a story when I heard a story about like after 9/11, I'll put a link to this if I can find it, but that people, or maybe it was after, it was after a school shooting. Anyway, somehow a community received like 20,000 teddy bears. And it was kind of like, oh, like the intent is good and want to do good things, but like we didn't, like 20,000 teddy bears isn't really what we need. So, again, as the person who wants to help, again, don't say, how can I help? Because that's burdening this person who's going in crisis, and, respect what they're asking for help with. Again, if you wanted to buy a toy, maybe just shoot over a little Venmo and just say, hey, I'm thinking of you, get something fun, or do something fun with this, whatever, again, makes sense for you. So, I thought that was really great, the way that people are showing up and the tools to organize it, communicate.
It's nice amazing. Too, to have someone in your life who can take charge of those things, right?
Yes.
Like the parents obviously are probably feeling pretty overwhelmed, and how great to have that friend or that person in your life who says, I'm going to set all this up. I'm going to manage this for you.
Yeah.
Like that's such a great gift to give too.
Yeah. The orchestration of things is a gift for sure.